Hi learners, before moving into today's video, I would request everyone watching this video to subscribe the channel and support me. This video explains how McDonald was able to successfully optimize the supply chain of French fries in India rather than importing the fries from US, which would cost them more money and time. Do you know that McDonald's had spent almost 6 years in building its supply chain even before opening its store in India? Yes, during those 6 years, the company worked to source as many ingredients as possible from India, and their efforts were successful. However, McFries, as McDonald's French fries, which is popularly known as McFries, were particularly very tough to source locally, and importing fries was undesirable for both cost and availability reasons. There were many complexities that were related to growing potato best suited for fries in Indian agricultural conditions. But still, by 2007, after 11 years of opening their first restaurant, the McFry was finally being produced in India. From 2007 to 2011, local McFry production increased from 0 to 75%, giving McDonald's a tremendous benefits in terms of cost saving, inventory reduction, and assured supply. So first, let's look at the approach of McDonald's to source McFries locally in India. In the early 1990s, McDonald's helped create a joint venture between international French fry supplier Lamb Weston and India-based Tarai Foods. The joint venture invested $10 million to set up the land, plant, and machinery in India. This joint venture focused on identifying and growing a suitable variety of potato for making McFries. The joint venture's agricultural techniques were not successful in developing a desired quality potato for McFries. At this point, the company realized that importing frozen fries was the best option left to get fries quickly in order to open their stores as soon as possible in India. The process for obtaining an import license was complex and time-consuming at that period. In 1996, for the first time, the Indian government allowed the imports, but under a restricted category. So import quantities were limited to 800 metric tons of French fries. In addition to this, import duties were levied, which is about 56%. Moreover, the lead time for importing fries from the US to India was around 60 days. It was becoming clear that imports would not be a longer-term solution to satisfy the demand for McFries in India. Though the initial attempts to localize French fries had failed, McDonald's decided to try again in 1998 with a company called McCain. McCain clearly understands that growing the right potato was the key factor for success. So first, McCain had to test its production capabilities in India. At that time, Vista Foods, which supplied McDonald's with patties, had some excess capacity in India. So McDonald's helped McCain to get access to this excess capacity without huge investment. If McCain was not given the production capability to test the Indian potatoes, then farmers would be reluctant to try something new. Secondly, farmers need to grow the desired quality potatoes in a suitable and more accessible location. For this, McCain conducted regional trials to locate the ideal growing locations and also experimented with 13 types of potatoes in order to find out the right variety. Key agricultural breakthroughs were demonstrated to farmers for increasing their confidence. In 2007, after many years of enhancements, McCain finally able to produce fries that met McDonald's specifications. By 2008, 30% of McDonald's India supply was being manufactured locally. By 2010, that number had grown to 75%. Because of producing the fries locally, McDonald's enjoyed a 30% lower cost structure and zero exposure to the fluctuating exchange rate, which in turn means that local fries were able to save an additional 19% in import cost. Also, with local fries, the inventory level were reduced from the level of 15 days to the level of 6 days. The reduction in shipping time also got reduced from 60 days from the US to less than a day for getting the local product, which had a significant benefit for risk management and contingency planning. In addition to this, McCain's close relationship with farmers helped to ensure a secure supply. After more and more French fries started being produced locally, McDonald's fries cost declined, which helped the company to launch extra value meals. These were designed to provide an entry drink and fries at everyday low prices, thereby increasing customer visits and average spend per visit. McDonald's still faced a lot of challenges ahead. The first challenge was regarding the quantity and quality. In 2011, the company had about 240 restaurants. The goal was to grow this number to a level of 500 by 2014 and also to reach out even more to the growing middle class people of over 250 million people. To meet this rapidly growing demand, rather than simply focusing on its own supply chain, McDonald's started to focus on its suppliers' supply chain as well. As only 75% of fries were being processed locally, the challenge would be meeting the ever-growing demand through increasing the portion of fries being processed in India. The second challenge was to do with the cost. Since everyday value to the customer was such a key aspect of McDonald's business proposition, although McCain, the potato farmers, and McDonald's had come a long way from condition in the 1990s, inflation continued to hover in the double digits in India, making it all the more important that McDonald's manage its supply chain cost. McDonald's wanted to grow productivity and manage cost rather than increase prices, since customers' discretionary spending was being threatened by inflation. One benefit of McCain working directly with farmers was that with the middleman out of the picture, farmers retained more profits. In addition to this, limitations existed in the type of cold storage technology available in India. So potatoes could not be stored for more than 6 to 8 months. So McCain wanted to stretch the shelf life of potatoes to 10 to 11 months, which would enable them to produce fries 365 days in a year. In terms of production cost, local fries cost about 70% of imported fries. Inventory holding for imported fries was 275 metric tons compared to 110 metric tons for local fries. The fourth challenge the company faced was competition for supply from other international food companies. Companies like PepsiCo had the same quality standards as McDonald's and would be looking at the same suppliers and many of the same forms for supply. An advantage McDonald's had was in volume. Even during an economic downturn such as the one in 2011, McDonald's volume was relatively stable. Suppliers were still able to cover their fixed cost because of this. Due to this and the long-standing relationship it had built with nearly 1,000 farmers, company's management felt confident that they could continue to depend on their suppliers. Thank you everyone for watching this video. For more such interesting case studies, please subscribe 5 Minutes Learning channel in YouTube.